Ethan!
Hi, Mom.
Almost ready, Ethan? Time to go.
I don't want to go to school.
Need some help with that? Off you go! Hurry!
Oh!
Hello, Jane. What are we looking for today?
Who are you?
I'm Laura Learns. I can see you're searching for answers. That conversation with the principal didn't sit right with you, did it?
He might grow out of it. It could click for him. Let's just wait and see what happens.
You're feeling lost, maybe even defeated.
Yeah, he kind of put me off.
What does your gut say?
I don't know. Something seems wrong. I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I don't know how to help him. I'm not a teacher. I can't get him to do his homework. He fights me every time. He just wants to play with Legos and draw. What if I make things worse? I'm not a trained professional. Maybe I should just trust the experts.
The experts? Let me ask you something. How often do you think they tell parents to wait and see? Do you think that is a good policy?
What do you mean?
Tell me about Ethan's day. Really tell me, from the moment he wakes up.
Well, this morning he couldn't tie his shoes again, and I was rushing him. Then he forgot his lunchbox, and when he got home, he had another meltdown over homework. It's like this every day.
Stop right there. What you just described tells me Ethan is likely working twice as hard as other children just to appear normal. Those aren't behavioral problems. They're distress signals from a brain that's exhausting itself.
What do you mean twice as hard?
Think about it. Shoe tying requires precise motor coordination and sequencing. Remembering his lunchbox needs executive function. Homework meltdowns happen when a brain is already depleted from working overtime all day. Ethan isn't lazy or difficult. His brain is crying out for help.
But the school says he's doing fine.
Of course they do. Because acknowledging the truth would require them to actually help him. And help costs a lot of money. School budgets are stretched tight. Teachers have overloaded classrooms full of kids who are struggling. Some teachers say most of their class has IEPs. Administrators are stressed too, trying to balance the budget. Schools just aren't prepared to handle it. I'm going to tell you something important. Ethan needs you to be his warrior, not the school, you.
But I wouldn't even know where to start. What if I make things worse? I'm already overwhelmed. His teacher keeps saying he's not working up to his potential and sends more homework home. I thought maybe if I just made him try harder.
Hold on. Stop. Not working to potential and try harder. Those are the most dangerous phrases in education. You've been told Ethan is lazy or defiant, haven't you? That if you just pushed him more, demanded more effort, sent more homework, he'd magically improve?
Yes, exactly. But it's making everything worse.
Of course it is. Because here's what the billion-dollar education industry doesn't want you to know. Those emotional meltdowns aren't the real problem, they're the symptom. Next, they'll want you to medicate him.
He does get emotional, especially before school.
Yes. And here's the kicker. Those emotions are actually making his challenge exponentially worse. They are shutting his brain down, turning learning off like a switch.
Turning his brain off? What do you mean?
We'll get to that. Right now, let's make a plan.
I don't know how to deal with him. He's such a happy and social boy until it's time for homework or school. I push him to do homework, but you are saying I have to figure out the emotions first?
You have to. Let me explain what's happening in Ethan's brain right now. When he sits down to homework, his brain already knows it's going to be difficult. Immediately, his amygdala, that's his brain's alarm system, starts firing. It thinks this is life or death.
Life or death.
To his primitive brain, yes. The amygdala literally shuts down his prefrontal cortex. That's where learning happens, and diverts all resources to survival mode. It's like flipping a switch. His brain literally can't learn when it's in survival mode.
So that's why he gets so upset.
Exactly. And here's what makes this so insidious. Emotions amplify everything immensely. The core learning challenge might be small, or it could even be a misinterpretation by Ethan, or just something a teacher said that got blown out of proportion. But once those emotions kick in, a small problem becomes a massive wall.
So if we solve the emotions first,
We can actually get to the bottom of what's really going on. You know, Learning Success has a free course on this called The Overly Emotional Child. You might want to sign up, because until we address that emotional overwhelm, nothing else will work. Ethan can't think his way out of an emotional brain state.
you mean there's actually something I can do?
You're about to discover you have more power than every expert who's ever told you to wait. The science is on your side. You just haven't been given access to it.
If it's some sort of learning disability that can't be changed, though.
And there it is. The lie that's destroying a generation of children. Let me tell you what's really happening. The entire education medical complex is still operating on deliberately outdated science from the 1970s that says brains can't change.
Deliberately outdated?
Neuroplasticity research has been around for decades, proving that brains change throughout our lifetime. But acknowledging this would threaten a multi-billion-dollar industry. Publishing companies are printing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of textbooks containing teaching methods that are proven not to work. Some even make children worse readers by turning them into word guessers instead of skilled decoders.
They know their methods don't work?
They absolutely know. But there's too much money at stake. It's not that it's cheaper to label your child learning disabled. It's actually expensive, which is exactly why schools resist doing it. They want to wait and see because every evaluation, every service costs them money, and all the while the book publishers are capitalizing on it. Think about it. If there are 4 different learning styles, then they get to print 4 times as many books. If dyslexic children have to have different books, then that's even more books to print. There are proven teaching systems that work, and teachers are begging to let them use them, but the bureaucrats won't budge. A struggling reader may need more support in different ways, but those aren't academics. They need practice in more fundamental skills, the foundational skills of learning. I call them the cognitive micro-skills.
So they're not helping because
the bureaucracy has tied their hands with impossible regulations while corporations profit, and kids just continue to struggle. The teachers and administrators often know better, but they're trapped in a system that fails kids like Ethan. Did you know that 70% of 8th graders are below proficient in reading? 20% of teenagers are functionally illiterate.
that's criminal.
It gets worse. They have a wait-to-fail policy built into federal law. They literally cannot offer services until your child is failing catastrophically. Meanwhile, what does your mama bear instinct tell you about watching Ethan suffer while they wait and see?
Everything in me says that's wrong.
Because it is wrong. And here's their secret weapon. They'll eventually slap a label on Ethan. ADHD. Dyslexia, whatever. And the moment they do, his brain will accept that as his permanent identity. Expectations literally rewire neural pathways. When we tell children their struggles are permanent, we're programming their brains for limitation.
So they're setting him up to fail?
Worse than that, they're stealing his future. And here's what should make you absolutely furious. By the time they finally act, it will be far more difficult to do anything. Waiting leads to catastrophic failure. Not only does the original problem still need to get solved, but now the emotions have gotten exponentially worse.
What do you mean?
Think about it. Depression rates in teens are skyrocketing. Go figure, right? When you tell a child for years that they're not working to potential, that they need to try harder, that builds shame and hopelessness. By middle school, Ethan could be several years behind his peers academically, drowning in depression, and convinced he's stupid.
And then what?
Then he'll need to catch up and overcome years of emotional damage and develop the original skills he needed in the first place. Except now his brain has been trained to expect failure. The wait-to-fail approach guarantees he'll just fail.
That's not happening to my son.
Good. Because let me tell you something that will fuel your warrior spirit. 65% of entrepreneurs have what this broken system calls learning disabilities. Richard Branson, Barbara Corcoran, the founder of IKEA, all labeled dyslexic by schools that couldn't see their gifts.
Really?
But here's the tragedy that should make every parent rage. They're the tiny minority who succeeded despite the system trying to destroy them. You know what made the difference? Their mothers refused to accept the labels. Their mothers understood that these brain differences often come with extraordinary gifts that the system is too blind to see.
What kind of gifts?
Dyslexic brains often have superior pattern recognition and spatial reasoning. That's why they become innovative entrepreneurs who see opportunities others miss. ADHD brains can hyper-focus with incredible intensity and make connections that linear thinkers never find. But the system buries these gifts under shame and low expectations.
Like Einstein?
Exactly. Einstein was told he'd never amount to anything. How many brilliant minds are we losing to this limitation industry? This is exactly why we created our free growth mindset course. Because when you understand how to nurture growth thinking, you're not just helping Ethan survive the system, you're giving him weapons to transcend it completely.
So, I really can change this trajectory?
You're about to join thousands of warrior mothers who discovered what's really possible when you refuse to let the system limit your child. You're about to become part of a revolution that's going to expose this entire corrupt industry.
Those signs I missed, the shoes, the lunchbox.
The shoe tying? That's a classic early indicator of what they'd eventually label dyslexia, but we just call it developing fine motor sequencing skills. Forgetting his lunchbox? That's executive function being compromised because his brain is working so hard to compensate.
So he's not being careless or defiant.
He's exhausted. And here's what makes me furious. His brain will never be more ready to develop these skills than it is right now. Every day we wait, that neuroplasticity window gets smaller. But the system wants you to wait until he's failing catastrophically, exactly when intervention is least effective and most expensive.
They've been making me feel like I was overreacting this whole time.
That's typical. Keep parents confused, guilty, and dependent instead of learning how to help children develop capabilities. They don't want you to know that you have more power to help Ethan than their entire system combined.
Oh my God. This morning when he couldn't tie his shoes, I was so frustrated with him. I was making him try harder when his brain was already exhausted. I made him feel worse when he was already struggling.
And now you understand. Those daily struggles aren't character flaws or defiance. He's been trying to tell you something all along, in the only way his overwhelmed brain knew how.
All those times, he said, I can't, or I'm stupid. He was begging for help, and I was telling him to try harder.
He was, and you responding exactly the way the system trained you to respond, with more pressure, more demands, more shame. But the beautiful part? You're here now, ready to answer his real call for help. The mother who felt helpless and confused, who believed the experts over her own instincts? She's served her purpose, but she's not who Ethan needs anymore.
No, she's not.
You've always been the hero of his story. Now you are going to have the weapons to fight back.
Tell me how to fight this. What do I do first?
It's a multi-step process, but not difficult. First, learn how to develop emotional intelligence in Ethan. I told you about the free course.
Right.
The Overly Emotional Child course.
Then start working on growth mindset.
How do I do that?
There's a free course for that too. At Learning Success.
Then what? He'll still have a learning struggle, right?
Probably, but once you've helped him build emotional intelligence and growth mindset, then you'll both be ready to tackle the next step. Remember, brains change. They change every day. They can change for the better or for worse. and how they change depends on us. Accept limitations, and those limitations become destiny. Fire up the neuroplasticity in the right direction, and who knows how far he can go. One thing I know for sure is we have no idea of the full potential of the human brain. For decades, we've been treating it like a machine. This part does this, that part does that. While that is partially true, it's not that simple. The human brain is not a machine. That reductionist thinking is what got us here. And that type of thinking has caused far too much damage. The human brain is a true miracle, not a machine.
What's the next step?
Building up the cognitive microskills. The building blocks of learning.
Ethan loves building blocks. He's an expert Lego builder. You should see his creations.
That could be pointing to one of his gifts.
Gifts?
Yes, remember I said that struggles often come with gifts. A struggling brain always finds ways to adapt. Brains are always changing, and those that struggle often build strengths in areas that the neurotypical brain doesn't. His skills at building Lego structures could be pointing to incredible spatial reasoning skills. His forgetfulness points to poor executive function, which is often caused by an auditory processing issue. But these are just educated guesses. You really won't know until you start working on all of the cognitive microskills, and then it will slowly become clear. Once you are ready for it, the Learning Success System has a roadmap for all of that. Plus, it will show you how to ramp up that neuroplasticity.
Wow, I've never considered any of this. Emotional intelligence, foundational learning skills, growth mindset, neuroplasticity. That's a lot.
It didn't come in the handbook, did it?
It sure didn't.
It's all pretty easy once you start seeing how it all works. Doesn't take much time either. I know you said you were swamped.
Maybe I wouldn't feel so overwhelmed if I wasn't fighting with him about homework all the time.
I think you'll find that to be true. Plus, life will be a lot less stressful, and you'll have a much better relationship with him.
I don't want to wait anymore. I won't let them steal another day of his potential.
Imagine Ethan writing you a letter 10 years from now. What would you want it to say? Thank you for believing in me when the whole system told you I was broken and refusing to try hard enough. Or, I wish you had acted sooner. That letter starts with what you decide to do today.
I want him to know I fought for him when it mattered most.
This isn't just about Ethan. This is about destroying a system that profits from limiting children's potential. Did you know that the whole system was designed after the Prussian education system from the early 1900s? A system designed to pump out obedient soldiers ready to take orders. You're not just helping him get by. You have the power to help him excel so far beyond their low expectations that he becomes living proof of what's possible when warrior mothers refuse to surrender to bureaucratic limitations.
Then that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Welcome to the revolution. Go save your son, and show the world what happens when mothers stop believing the limitation industry and start believing in their children's infinite potential.
Okay, just so I stay on track. My steps are to start the free Overly Emotional Child course. Start the free Learning Success Growth Mindset course. And if I think that these problems are because my child is struggling in school, then I should also start a free trial of the Learning Success System. Do I have all of that right?
You've got it. And I want you to remember this. Right now, all of this is a struggle. You may wonder, why me? You are probably going through some pretty heavy emotions. A lot of parents describe it as a sort of grief. All of that is really hard. But you also have to remember that this is not just about overcoming the emotions, the mindset challenges, and the school struggles. It's about revealing his gifts. And if you do that, he is very likely to soar past all of his peers, not just catch up. I've seen struggling students, with the right help, shoot right to the top. So remember his potential. Remember what you want that letter he writes to say. Remember his gifts. What you are doing is embracing his true brilliance and unleashing his potential. And that is something only a mom can do well. You are giving him a gift only you can give. For now, you probably will want to dive into this a bit deeper. I'll link a couple videos you'll definitely want to watch. And don't forget to start those free courses. Links are in the description.